In America, most legends don't know they're legends. They don't wake up famous. They don't start powerful. They don't even believe, at first, that their life matters. This story doesn't begin on a stage. It doesn't begin with applause. It begins with an ordinary American that nobody was watching. Before the world knew his name, before millions listened to his words, before his face appeared on screens across continents, he was invisible. And that's exactly why his name was Ethan Cole. If you passed him on the street, you wouldn't remember him. Mid-30s, plain jacket, neutral expression, the kind of guy America produces by the millions. Ethan grew up in a small town in Indiana, where life moved slowly and expectations were even slower. His father worked construction. His mother worked double shifts at a diner. They didn't talk about dreams. They talked about bills. Ethan learned early that survival comes before ambition. Be realistic, people said. Don't aim too high. Be grateful for what you have. And for a long time, he listened. By the time Ethan was 32, he had what society calls a normal life. A warehouse job, a small apartment, a reliable paycheck. But inside, he felt empty. Not dramatic empty, not tragic empty. Just quiet. The kind of emptiness that doesn't scream, it slowly suffocates. Every morning, same routine. Same drive, same break room conversations. And every night, the same question followed him home. Is this really it? Ethan wasn't bad at his job. He wasn't lazy. He wasn't careless. He was invisible. At work, no one asked his opinion. In meetings, his ideas went unheard. When promotions came, his name never did. He started to believe something dangerous. Maybe AWSNT meant for more. Pause. Emotional in America, that belief kills more dreams than failure ever could. One night, after a 12-hour shift, Ethan sat alone in his car. Engine running, hands on the steering wheel. He didn't cry. He didn't scream, "Ejos, started." And for the first time, the thought crossed his mind. If I disappeared tomorrow, would anyone notice? That moment didn't break him, but it cracked something open. Ethan didn't make a big, dramatic choice. He didn't quit his job. He didn't announce a life change. He did something smaller. He started writing. Not books. Not poetry. Just thoughts. Things he'd never said out loud. About pressure. About failure. About feeling behind in life. He wrote like no one would ever read it, and that made it honest. One night, almost as a joke, Ethan posted a short video online. No music, no filters, no script. Just him. Talking. He said, "I don't have advice. I don't have success. I just know what it feels like to feel forgotten." Pause. The video got 23 views. Ethan went to bed. Most people would have stopped. Ethan didn't. Not because he believed in himself, but because talking was the first time he felt alive in years. So he posted again and again. Late nights, early mornings, same job, same life. Different voice. He talked about discipline when motivation disappears, about self-worth without validation, about surviving seasons nobody claps for. Slowly, something happened. A comment appeared. "Man, this feels like my life." Another, "I thought I was the only one." Ethan stared at the screen. For the first time, he realized his silence had connected people. Weeks passed. Then, months. One video crossed 10,000 views. Another hit 100,000. Ethan didn't celebrate. It was scared. Because once people start listening, you can't hide anymore. He almost quit. Fear told him, what if they realize you're nothing special? But another voice whispered, what if you are? One rainy night, exhausted, Ethan recorded a video in his car. Saeed? I spent years waiting to be chosen. Then I realized, no one's coming. You choose yourself. That video exploded. millions of views. Shares across the US, then Europe, then Asia. An unknown American had just said something the world needed to hear. Emails flooded in. Podcast requests, speaking invites. Messages from strangers. Ethan still went to work the next day. Warehouse floor. Some a uniform, but something was different. People knew his name. Fame didn't change Ethan. Responsibility did. He realized people were listening not because he was perfect, but because he was honest. So he stayed that way. His message crossed borders. You don't need permission to become more. You don't need approval to matter. You don't need fame to have impact. Schools invited him. Companies invited him. But he spoke like the same man from Indiana. Because that's who people trusted. 1 year later, Ethan stood on a stage in New York. Lights. Crowd. Silence. He said, "I'm not here because I'm special. I'm here because I refuse to disappear." The crowd stood. Not for fame, for truth. Ethan often thinks about that version of himself, sitting alone in a car, feeling invisible. He knows something now. He didn't then. That moment was not the end. It was the beginning. And if you're watching this, feeling behind, feeling unseen, feeling like time is running out, hear this clearly. You are not late. You are loading. In America, icons aren't born famous. They're built quietly, in doubt, in fear, in persistence. An unknown American became a global icon, not by chasing the world, but by finally believing his voice mattered. And so does yours. Your story isn't over, not even close.